And there it was, the first step on our new journey. You coming?
Hello everybody, welcome to PlayStation Access. My name is Rob, joining us is Rosie.
Hello everyone.
As you might be able to tell from our apparel, we have both just played the first two chapters, or a big chunk of the first two chapters, from Final Fantasy VII Rebirth.
Ta-da!
And
we have!
we're allowed to talk about it now.
And that's all that matters. We're just like, oh my god, where do we start? How do we start this?
Well, we should start with the start.
Yes.
So, Chapter 1, which I thought was amazing, and we have played a little segment of Chapter 1 before Christmas. I got hands-on with the game, and I played a little bit of the section where it's the Nibelheim flashback, essentially, and you learn how Sephiroth goes from first-class member of Soldier, and you learn how he descends into the supervillain that he becomes.
World-dominating supervillain.
But we got to play all of that chapter this time, and I thought it was so brilliant. I thought it reminded me of Remake at its best, which is where it takes really iconic scenes from the original Final Fantasy VII and just dials them up to 11. Like everything.
The atmosphere in some of them. The atmosphere, especially when Sephiroth's reading through all of the books, I was completely hooked and entranced. And there was one scene as well where I was watching it and I was so engulfed in it. I was leaning on the chair, you know, with my hand over my mouth, just eyes wide open. And I had a member of Square Enix, member of staff, came up to the chair and did the same pose as me. And I said, it's so intense, I can't put my eyes off.
Oh, I'm glad they didn't do that to me. I'd have been like, go away.
They completely understood.
I'm enjoying the game.
They were like, yeah, it's really good, isn't it?
It was really chilling. I remember that scene in the original game, and it was great, but there was something like the music is just fantastic, and I think we'll probably be talking about the music again later in this video, but Sephiroth's slow descent into madness is so wonderfully portrayed by everything in the scene. Just it's really, really ramped up how horrible he is, and that act of burning down Nibelheim, it reminded me of in Remake, right after you do the very first bombing mission, you blow up the Mako reactor.
Yeah.
In Remake, you get to explore the streets of Midgar, the surrounding area, and you get to see the immediate aftermath of that, and it really brings home what a traumatic event it was. You get to see people who've been affected by it, and similar thing with Sephiroth burning down Nibelheim. You really got, I thought, more of a sense of what an awful, awful thing this is that Sephiroth's done. Yeah,
there's one moment in particular where Cloud is crawling on the floor and you're just witnessing something that Sephiroth does, and it's just so slow and painful to watch. I was just like, oh my god, I can't believe this is happening right now. Even though I've already done it in the original many a time, just seeing it again, but now in Rebirth, it's chilling.
It brings it to life, really, doesn't it? It starts right from the bit where, obviously, Cloud is in Kalm at this point, and he is telling the rest of the party this story. You get to the bit where they finally reach the Mako reactor, or Marco reactor, I should say. That's how it's officially pronounced, Marco, even though I've already said Mako. They get to the reactor, and Sephiroth realizes what is inside those containers. Like all the dastardly experiments that Hojo has been doing. And remember, in the original game, you get to peek through one of the containers and see what's inside. That scene is expanded a little bit in Rebirth. But just the way the music, there's just a subtle change in the music at that point.
Yeah.
And it was almost like heartbeat-esque, like an ominous, slow pounding that really keys into what Sephiroth is feeling at that point. And that music just slowly starts to ramp up and ramp up and ramp up through the next 15 to 20 minutes or so of that sequence.
Yeah.
Culminating in that iconic, the shot. You know, the iconic shot of Sephiroth where he turns to face Cloud in the fire and then walks through it. Oh my god.
See, that was the scene where I was leaning on my chair with my hand over my mouth. It was that scene.
Yes.
And I was just like, oh my gosh, it was so beautifully done.
Tingles. I've got goosebumps through it. But also in that sequence, you get to do the bit where you have Sephiroth fighting with you in your party with Cloud.
Yes.
Which I got hands-on with before Christmas, Rosie, but I'm guessing this was your first time playing that bit as well.
It was.
What did you make of that
Sephiroth, when you're fighting as him, he's just so much fun. He's so quick, and he's got such long range, and he's just so powerful to fight as. I know you could, switch between Sephiroth and Cloud, but just for these moments, I thought, no, I've got to play as Sephiroth.
Yeah, exactly. Absolutely.
Exactly, you've just got to do it. And also, I noticed with the magic as well, when you're trying to do magic with Cloud, you might just have fire, whereas with Sephiroth, he's already got all of the advanced...
He's already leveled up.
Leveled up, so as soon as you've got a weakness, it's just Sephiroth, use all of your really strong magic, please. Use that materia. So he was just so powerful and so good to fight with.
I really enjoyed how it expanded a little bit on Cloud's reverence for Sephiroth during that scene, because before, in the original game, I never really felt that much of a sense of Sephiroth before he turned evil. He was this icon, this hero everyone looked up to, and there's a little bit where the people in Nibelheim are trying to get a photo of him and Tifa and Cloud all together, and I just really enjoyed that dynamic between them, seeing Cloud trying to impress Sephiroth. He's like, I'll handle these monsters. Doesn't do a particularly good job of it. Sephiroth comes in, I'll do it then. Boom. And you just get to see Sephiroth. I mean, with a name like Sephiroth and dressed the way he is, he's always going to be a villain, right?
Yeah.
But it was fun seeing him, I thought, before that turn. But I just loved that whole sequence. I thought it was so well reimagined, and it just has my mouth watering knowing some of the other scenes that are to come in Rebirth, and wondering how they're going to look.
Finally. Rough day yesterday, huh? You've been waiting for me?
I want to move on, otherwise we'll talk about Sephiroth all day.
Yeah.
So the chapter 1 ends, and we go back to Kalm, which is where they are, the party.
Yes.
And we get to explore a little bit of Kalm, and again, it was that Remake thing. I remember in Remake visiting the slums, Sector 7 slums for the first time, and just being like, oh, wow, I get to, this area is so much bigger than I remember. Going back to the original Final Fantasy VII, it's just a couple of screens. In Remake, it really expanded it. And Kalm in Rebirth is no different as well. Like, it's a thriving, bustling, busy, lively town. And I wanted to spend a lot more time there, but I, immediately left to try and get through as much of the story as we could in our hands-on time. But when I finally get hands on the full game, I'm going to be spending a lot of time in Kalm.
Oh yeah, definitely. Already, when we were in Kalm for a little bit, I was running around everywhere. I wanted to see everything. I loved the busy vibes, and if there was an area I didn't see, like you can even go swimming for a little bit. I was like, I want to go swimming in there. I need to see it already. So I probably spent way too long in Kalm, but it was just because it was so lovely to explore, and there were so many people to chat to and hear conversations. That's something that Remake did really well as well, when you just walk around and you can hear people chatting away.
Yes. Brings such a life to these places that we've known in one way, and see them expanded upon and built upon and realised, beautifully realised with modern visuals and fully voiced audio.
Yeah.
It makes you feel like you're in this place.
Yes.
And gives you a different appreciation for the place. But I know you want to talk as well, Rosie, about some of the interactions with members of your party and how it can affect their opinion of you.
Yes, so this is something that I love that they've added to Rebirth, and it's all about bonding with your party. So when you're running around, for example, an area like Kalm, you will see a little emoji face above your party, and that indicates how they're feeling towards you.
Yeah.
And if you go and have a conversation with them, you can have multiple choice questions. So for example, when you run into Tifa, she'll say, oh, does this remind you of anything? And you can either say it's the water tower, it's where I made that promise to you, or something like, I don't know, or I don't care, or I don't remember.
Classic Cloud response.
Classic, don't know. Because I know we picked two different options. I went for the place where I made the promise to you, because I was like, I love Tifa, so I want to tell her that I do still care.
Yeah.
And you were just like, oh, it's the tower.
It's the water tower, yeah.
The water tower,
Looks like the water tower. What's your point, Tifa? Yeah.
But so depending on how you answer, it affects your relationships with your party, and then we've been told that later down the line that could then affect some areas of the story. So, and not only that as well, but from bonding with your party, that's how you can increase your party level, your whole level of your party is now a thing. And from doing that, you can then get more abilities, such as I'm sure you've seen the cinematic moves that you've seen in trailers and everything.
The synergy abilities.
The synergy abilities, more of those will become available as you bond with your party more. So
it's almost Persona-esque, isn't it?
Yeah.
Like you're focusing on the relationships, and like you say, that's a new mechanic, the whole party level thing. Really interested to explore that a bit more. I told Aerith that I did not want to go to the clock tower with her. She insisted, and I went there anyway. But Aerith, I got like a little neutral to sad emoji from Aerith. So I've already started annoying Aerith. There was a similar mechanic in the original Final Fantasy VII where, depending on what dialogue options you picked, you would get a different person going on a date with you at the Gold Saucer trophy for getting Barrett to go on a date with you, if I remember. But yeah, really, really excited to sort of dive into the depths of that party system, which does seem really, really cool. Another thing that gets introduced in Kalm is the new mini game, the new card game, Queen's Blood. I only played one game of it, but even from that one game, I already have realised it's something I'm going to be sinking a lot of hours into when Rebirth finally comes out. I think you played a little bit more than me, didn't you, Rosie?
So I did the tutorial, and then I played another game, and I just thought, you know what, I've done the tutorial, but you know when you do a card game like this for the first time, you have a rough understanding, but you only start really learning when you do it yourself. So I thought I'll give it another go. And from piecing together what I learned from the tutorial and then applying that myself, when I won the match, I was like, yeah, I'm getting good at this now. And it completely hooked me already. And the music in the card game was so beautiful. That's probably another reason why I went in, because I thought I have to listen to this track again, because the track when you're playing it is so good. Which is very important, because obviously when you do card games and Final Fantasy games, the music's some of the best part of it.
Nothing's bested Triple Triad for me in Final Fantasy VIII. Just absolutely banging tune. But I mean, just the fact that there is another card game in a Final Fantasy game is just so exciting. It's
so exciting, and I can't wait to get better at it and to challenge more people with it and to get new cards coming in. So I'm very excited to develop my deck and win more matches, hopefully.
Yeah, it's going to be cool. Every time I get to a new place, I'm like, okay, who wants a game of cards? Before anything happens, before any of the story, who wants to play Queen's Blood?
Oh. I'd almost forgotten what it was like to be young and in love.
But the big thing, literally the big thing we need to talk about are the grasslands.
Yes.
Because we left Kalm, and this is the moment that I think all Final Fantasy VII fans have been anticipating.
Yeah.
What does the open world, I guess, if you like, what does it look like? How does it work? How open is it? And I was really pleasantly surprised by how much freedom you seem to have and just how big it is. So you come out of Kalm and you get that classic welcome to the open world moment where, and you've probably seen it in the trailers, where the door is opened and Aerith's like, wow, it's so green.
Look, it's brilliant.
It's amazing. And it is. And I remember Final Fantasy 15 had like an open world, but there were some areas where you couldn't go. Like, you know, if there was a rocky outcrop, that basically meant you can't go past that. And that's sort of what I was expecting here. But you can just clamber over anything.
Yeah,
like
the climbing,
rocky outcrops, Cloud can just climb up it. You can jump off. And then my favourite bit, I was walking across a bridge, just admiring the water graphics. Didn't occur to me immediately that maybe I can swim. And I just jumped off the bridge, and lo and behold, you can just swim. You just swim down the rivers. You can go anywhere, Rosie.
That's what I did in Kalm when I was saying, I was swimming earlier. It's because I just fell in the water and I thought, I'm swimming.
Yes.
And I do love the climbing mechanic as well now, because it encourages you to explore so much more.
There's so much. There's so much stuff just hidden. It's so big. This was just one area, the grasslands outside Kalm. In my hands-on before Christmas, I got to experience a condensed area outside Junon as well.
Yes.
So I'm imagining it works where you've got a series of big open hub areas sort of interconnected by, I mean, I think at the end of chapter 2 you have to go through the mithril mines, and that's what takes you to that area outside Junon, so I'm guessing it's a similar sort of thing here. But yeah, just the size of it, the beauty of it as well. Like getting to a high point and being able to see Kalm in the distance and the mountains. It looks astonishingly good.
Well, even when you first enter the grasslands and you just see the landscape and it goes like into the gameplay section, I didn't want to move for a bit because I was just thinking, it's like in Elden Ring when you enter Limgrave for the first time and you think, where do I start? And they do give you like a little point to be like, oh, you should investigate this area, but you can't help but just, now you've got the freedom. It's like, what if I went the other way though?
Whenever an RPG says, you should go here, I immediately just turn the camera around the other way.
Yeah.
That's it. Well, hang on.
They're nothing.
But we should also talk about the open world, the combat as well, which seems like a slightly refined version of Remake's combat system. It's got the added synergy abilities and all of that cool stuff. Anyone who's played Remake, I think, will immediately feel at home with the combat in Rebirth. I thought it was amazing in Remake, so, you know, why fix what isn't broken, essentially? But one thing I really loved, and this sort of links into the party thing as well, so you can choose who's in your party. So at this stage in the game, you have Cloud, Barret, Tifa, Red 13, and Aerith all available, and you can choose 3 of them to be in your party, and you can choose presets of party as well, which you can switch between really quickly in the menu. So I think Red 13 and Aerith was my default, but I quickly selected another party that had Barret and Tifa in it. The cool thing, and I didn't realise this until we were watching our capture when we got back, is that the people you don't have in your immediate party, you can see them on the outskirts of battle if you're in a fight with just some monsters in the open world. I had Barret and Tifa on my subs-bench, essentially. Just like circling around the battle in the background, watching what was going on. Barret sort of like getting his gun arm ready, Tifa with her fists up. I just loved that little detail.
It's such a good detail.
Really sort of immersing you in that fact that you are a group of 5 people on this journey together. You're all running through the field together, and then when the battle starts, you just split off into your separate groups.
Well, that's so far what, I mean, just from playing the little preview that we did do, that's already something that immediately I think they've really expanded upon, is the relationship and feeling as if you are part of the party. They are all together. They are genuine people in this world. So I think just even having Barret and Tifa on the side, getting ready to get in there and do the fights, I think is a really beautiful small detail that just adds to the whole crew feel, the relationship between them all. So
it's just you know, it's a little thing, but something I really enjoyed seeing. Just a lovely extra detail.
Definitely.
Anywho, what can I do you for? You in the market for some fine feathered friends by any chance?
Are we ever? Need them to get through the swamplands.
And so this area of the grasslands, you can go, you can visit the Chocobo farm. You get to rent the Chocobo, and it culminates in you fighting the legendary serpent, the Midgard Zorma, who I didn't actually make it to. I ran out of time.
I ran out of time as well, sadly.
I did speak to some people at the event who did fight it, and they were like, I died immediately. Died immediately. So much like the horrible serpent in the first game, I think if you want to beat it, you're going to have to
come back,
put in some grinding, level up a bit, get stronger. But I'm so excited, even more so than I was before, Rosie. Like,
oh no, I'm the exact same.
I just can't wait.
Honestly, I've been waiting to have this conversation with you ever since we've played it. It's just like, I just want to talk about it more. I just want to talk about it, and I just want it to be with us now.
There's not too much longer to wait now, Rosie.
Yes.
Final Fantasy VII Rebirth is here on February the 29th. Not much longer to go. And to celebrate the fact that it's coming out really soon, I'm just going to end this video by pressing this little button here. Give us a like if you liked the victory fanfare. And subscribe, because we're going to have loads more on Final Fantasy VII Rebirth in the run-up to its release. We'll see you soon.
PlayStation